I just wanted it just occurred to me to talk about proper nouns when they are translated either from English into Arabic or from Arabic into English. And this is one of the difficulties that some they come across because they're not aware of what is required or what needs to be done. Of course, if you are translating names, proper names, like names of shops, names of people or places, it's always important to leave, if there are places, you leave them as they are, unless you know what's their equivalent, the actual one that is officially known in the target language, so you don't need to think about it or actually worry about it. But if there is an equivalent, which you need to actually search first to see if there is an equivalent to a word, to a proper noun that's been used in the source text, whether the source text is English or Arabic, that's the case. Then what you need to do is you need to search in either way. Of course, there are words like Al-Ghardaqa, for example, which is a place in Egypt. It is actually reversed, Ghargada, which is the exact reversal. Here we have the swapping of some letters, and that is due to the to facilitate it, to make it easier for those who are pronouncing it in other languages. The same applies to other words like Gibraltar and so on. So sometimes they might be reversed for a reason for that. Let me just have a look let's have a look together at some of these words or names. In particular, of course, names that are of prophets, for example, that are very well established. So let's have a look at them and then discuss them in details with you. This is from my book, by the way. This is my book, which is Arabic English Syntax in Translation, which was published by Arachne in 2013. And I've discussed it in the last class or last session. And I just came across this, which is on page 44, and I thought maybe I'll share that with you. So as I said about the names and their equivalents, of course, names are transliterated most of the time, unless we know what their original is. Sometimes if it's like, say, Tony and Tony, which is, that's okay if you are, you can use either, as in democracy and demokratia, which is transliterated as a word, which is a foreign word in the first place, but it's not democracy. Democracy is not a proper noun, a proper name, okay? So let's look at some of these names. As you can see, for example, Abraham in English and Ibrahim in Arabic, these are the prophets. Ishmael and Ismail, and Isaac and Ishaq, and Jacob and Yaqub, and Yusuf, Joseph, Yunus, Jonah, David, Dawood, and Jesus, Isa, and Moses, Musa, and Job is Ayub, and Jibrail, and Noah, of course, is Noah, and Jibrail is the Gabriel, and Jalut, Goliath, and Talut, and Shimon, Simon. So you see, these are some of the names of some of these prophets, and we need to know about them. There's also an issue of places here, which is quite interesting, like Nineveh, for example, which is not here in the list, of course. So we have Ariha, Jericho, Al-Khalil, Hebron, Al-Jalil, Galilee, Al-Furat, Euphrates, Dajla, Tigris, and Caspian Sea, Bahr Qazwin, Nahr al-Asi, the Orontes, Tiba, Thebes in Egypt. Of course, there's Tiba, which is here for Al-Medina, but that's not Thebes. Ishbilia, Seville, and Malaga, Malaga, and Ibiza, Al-Yabisa, Granada, Granada, Lisbona, Lisbon, and Gibraltar, as I said earlier, Jabal Tariq, Dar al-Bayda, Casablanca, Palmyra for Tudmur, الجبل الأسود مونتينيغرو, الطرف الأغر Trafalgar Square. So this is really quite a collection which I have done before some time back, so I thought maybe I will share it with you. Of course, these proper nouns, as they are called, or proper names, whether they are names of places or names of people, we need to research them well. If we, like for example, as we said in, for example, Barcelona, Barcelona, we know, Barcelona, and so on. Some of the Spanish names usually have their Arabic equivalent because of the cultures that are cross-cultural interaction between the two, given the history of Andalusia and so on. I thought this is quite an important element. So always, when you have a name, always look. I mean, for example, there are issues regarding, for example, names of countries like Almania, which is Germany. Of course, Poland or Bologna. So sometimes they take it from the French and say Bologna, which is for Poland, or Bolanda. This is another way of saying Poland. And so it is really depends on is it originated from French or originated from English, and depends which countries they are using. Sometimes you say Poland and sometimes you say Bologna. This is from French and the other one is from English. So names of countries, I mean, like Hungary, Magyar, Al-Magyar, Magyar is Al-Magyar. So these are names of whether it's countries or places. You need to research them well. You cannot just transliterate them and just go by thinking that that is the right transliteration for them. You need to make sure that you are getting the official translation. Usually, if you are talking about names of associations like IAEA, which is the International Atomic Agency, Atomic Agency, that is really, you need to look for the official translation of that, which is what is in the UN, which is الوكالة الدولية للطاقة الذرية. Of course, with associations, you tend to have to search for their official name. You will find them in their websites, so that's a good sign, or that's a good documenting your source, because it's important to have a document proves that. It is important to see these things, these names, because it's problematic if you have written a name which is already known in the Arab world. Of course, that's the case as if you talk about, for example, the Persian Gulf and the Arabian Gulf. And it is well known in the English language for Persian Gulf, but then in the Arabic it is well known to say Arabian Gulf. And in order to settle this, which was a debate which went on for some time, it was settled for the Gulf in the end. There is Felix, which is Happy Felix, or Al-Yaman al-Sa'id is well known as well, Felix. So these are all elements or words that require you, or names that require you to work really hard on getting the right equivalent. You should not guess or just transliterate and carry on. You should really get to check them in the original, in both languages, in Arabic and in English, or in the target text and in the source text. I hope that you've learned something from today's session. It's a very short one here, just to give you an idea of about the proper nouns. Have a nice day.